Okay, we're back. Not a long layover until the next match, the final match of week 3 of pool play of the Virtual World Cup gets underway. That match between the United Kingdom and Malaysia in Group A. So welcome everybody. I'm sure a lot of the people that are viewing were just here from a quite amazing match between India and Thailand, which India was victorious 14-11 to secure their entry into the bracket of this tournament. So again, this is it. This is the final match before pool play is over and we get to the bracket phase. So here are the results of week 3. You see the Philippines over New Zealand. They needed to win that to continue to have a chance, but the Ireland victory over the U.S. knocked out the Philippines. Australia won over Nigeria to secure their passage to the bracket phase. We just talked about India, which we just saw earlier on the channel. So let's look at how the bracket is shaping up. Again, India just defeated Thailand. It is not a lock that they will play Australia. It is possible that Malaysia or the UK could technically pass them by winning more games overall over the course of the 3 weeks. So in particular, I believe the magic number here is if Malaysia wins 18 games over the UK, or if the UK wins something like 21 games, they could potentially pass India to win Group A. So you see, here's how things shook out so far. 3 weeks of play, 4 groups, 2 teams from each group advancing to the bracket that you just saw. Those teams in Group B are Pakistan and Australia. In Group C, Canada and Singapore, which won on tiebreakers over Kenya and Ghana. And the USA and Ireland from Group D. Our first team from Group A was just decided. That's India over Thailand. And this is it. The final match, the final team to enter the bracket will be decided here today between Malaysia and the UK. So let's look at today's matchup. I believe that both teams are fielding their top rosters here, and a lot of really strong players on both teams. Peter, Phil, Paul, Femi, and James for the UK. And Ganesh, Darren, Vanita, Martin, and Andrew for Malaysia. And these two teams, both very strong. You can see despite the UK's losing record, they're actually averaging more points than their opponents, and they have a really respectable number of bonuses, 108. Malaysia, with a better record than the UK, and a higher average score, but also yielding more points to their opponents. And slightly fewer bonuses, but Malaysia definitely has been on the low end of blanks so far. We're going to see how that shakes out today. I mean, just because you've drawn a low number of blanks doesn't guarantee you'll draw more, but they're definitely quote-unquote overdue to draw some. So you can see here's the 5-point challenge. Phil Robertshaw of the UK, the number 2 seed, is tied, or at least going into this weekend, he was tied for the 4th most bonuses of all players in the tournament. That's 27. And James Curley, who was only pressed into service because Harshan Lamabadu the number 1 seed of the UK, was not able to play. He's got the most wins on Team UK with 5.5. So that's pretty impressive. Obviously, for Malaysia, we all know Ganesh. He's averaging the most points and allowing a very low number to his opponents. And Darren Koo has the most wins on Malaysia with 7. So here we are. Let's get it underway. Let's get our first round matchup poll going. There are some great matchups here. Feel free to vote in the chat which one you would like to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and we will cut right to that game. It looks like Peter Andronowski and Andrew Chang have already started their game. No need to wait. So yeah, I'm thinking that Phil and Ganesh is a great matchup to open, but Peter and Andrew is they have already started, so we could cut to that. So anyway, let's let the poll continue to run and see what's happening in our first game of our final match of week 3 of pool play. This is a very exciting opening. Maybe this will convince people to vote for this game, that it just opened with 2 blanks apiece. But and then Koff also played. That's always a nice bailout when you draw your Q and can't play with the U. So Okay, it looks like Ganesh versus Phil is a popular choice, and I have to admit that's a pretty appealing choice to me too. So once that game gets started, we will focus on that as our feature game. Currently, obviously, the clock just ticked to the start time for this match, so these two players could not wait to get underway, which I admire and share their enthusiasm. But I'm sure the rest of the games are about to get rolling. So yeah, Ganesh has a couple of times already. I covered a Malaysia match with him where he confounded me with a play that I didn't understand, and it turned out to be absolutely an excellent play. It was just too quick, too quick for me. Oh, I'm sorry. I see Martin is on. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't update my Malaysia. I will update that now. It is definitely Martin playing today. I will update that shortly. All right, here we go. We've got our matchup. It is Ganesh versus Phil. And right off the bat, you can see that I will get this poll out of here because I think that this was the clear winner. So we will stick with this matchup. I will get that corrected with the roster. Definitely, that was from my earlier coverage of Malaysia. So, okay, Blazed is played. I think he left an O on that rack. Seems like a pretty reasonable opening play for Ganesh. He could have opted to... Oh, did he leave an O? What was his leave there? Yeah, maybe Zoil was just overlooked. I don't know. That's interesting. Zoil would have scored 48. Blaze scores 42. Maybe just a slight inaccuracy there. A little surprising, but not a big... If Blazed isn't the best play, it's definitely the second best play. So... I guess for Phil, it looks like the X is, I don't know. You could definitely play something underneath Blazed with Za, but I think I do prefer Falx here, just because the AGES leave is pretty good, and you potentially get sevens down over or underneath Blazed. So Ganesh draws the Q with the U. That's nice. This is not a great rack overall, but if you're going to draw it, it's okay to have QU. It actually looks like maybe keeping QU together and playing something like this looks really strong. My guess is Ganesh will see that and find it. If he wants to use his Q, he can. He can play Quail. He plays Azoic instead. I like that idea. I do like that idea. It scores quite nicely, and keeping the Q could, I mean, you never know what you're going to get to work with after your opponent's play. We'll see what Phil plays, but it also, the nice thing about Azoic is without an H to play down this way, the board is absolutely bereft of scoring opportunities. It's a very poor board for scoring. Again, an H would open it up quite a bit to reach that triple, but the odds of your opponent having one aren't that good. So I think I like Azoic, not only for scoring well and keeping QU, I should say, together, but also for yielding very little back to Phil. So yeah, probably a strong UK contingent. We're streaming at just the right time, where normally my streams in the nighttime on the East Coast of the US are not really possible for the UK gang to watch, but I'm very glad that we're streaming now so that there's an opportunity for those folks to watch along with their team. So yeah, this board is not that easy to work with for Phil. He plays Beget, which that's probably roughly as much as he could have scored there. I wonder why he didn't play Begat to try to keep an E. Maybe just an oversight, because obviously in a vacuum you would prefer to have an E than an A. So maybe that would be a small tweak I would make, but I don't mind the idea of playing more tiles here just because it's not a great board. To admire your bingo leave, as very quickly Ganesh plays Quota, which basically just putting the Q out in space. One thing I've noticed with Ganesh is that he is not afraid to play an open style and just let the chips fall where they may, which I admire that. Basically, Ganesh gambling that just his play finding and word finding are going to bring him home on most of those open boards. Oh, I'm sorry. Last move is because I'm on my buddy screen. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's just pulling in from ISC as a display capture. So when I'm on my buddy screen, it doesn't show. So now it is. Thank you. A lot of moving pieces here. I was going to change the roster so that when it queries, it's going to be correct. That would be nice. That's on the Streamlabs dashboard. I'll try to get to that quick. Obviously, Phil has in cases here, which plays in a couple different spots. He's probably going to play... Oh, Acidness. That's interesting. I didn't see that coming. I was expecting in cases to be played here. And Quim is played. We've already seen Fuckwit. Why not? Let's add that to the pile of fun words. Yeah, but Acidness does potentially maybe open less in the way of big scoring spots. It just has the one really big one potentially there. There are absolutely some 8-letter words with Phil's rack, but the board is a little bit too tight. I don't think any of them play. So Quim was played nearly instantaneously. Another thing about Ganesh I've noticed is not only is he not afraid to play an open board style, he also plays really fast, I find. And he is a very accomplished blitz player. Yeah, I am fully aware of his prowess in that area, and that translates really well to regular paced Scrabble, because if you're able to retain most of your abilities playing really fast, you're going to push your opponents over on time a lot. Suggestion of Vaunt. That's definitely a good idea. I think maybe Trave is also worth considering. Yeah, Trave might be a little better than Vaunt just because it undoubles your R's. But Vaunt would have been fine, probably roughly the same. And Misfolds goes down with the F in that lucrative spot. It's going to score a ton. That F's on a double letter score. The whole word is 101 points. So that's a lot of points for Ganesh there. Really, really nice play. Definitely the best. I wonder if that was the only bingo that he had available. And no, there was also Fordless through the R of Trave, but Misfold scores another 30 points on top of that. So, all right, let's see if we can get these correct here. Hold on. So that is Ganesh. Player 2 is actually Peter Androna, is Phil Robert Chaw. Okay, there we go. That is looking correct. Oh yeah, yes, moseying font for sure. The funny thing about the last move is, of course, we know ISC honors the high-rated players by saying a hush fills the room. So every now and then, that's going to take the place. That's going to take the place of what move was last, but that's okay. It's usually correct. It usually will be correct. So now that we're on this screen, I can cut to Quackle, and it will show you that Misfolds was 101, and Fordless the only other bingo available in that position. So nicely done by Ganesh. This is a frustrating rack for Phil. He's probably checking and double checking and imagining, do I have a bingo through the T or something like that? But it really, ultimately, he's going to have to cut bait on that pretty quick and just do his best to score whatever he can with this difficult rack. He's down 100, and it's not really the type of rack he wants. If he's going to have low point tiles, he needs him to bingo here, as opposed to score only in the teens or something like that. So yeah, once again, just a quick recap. What is going on here with the this event? Where are we at? This is the final match in week 3 of pool play in the Virtual World Cup. That is the initial phase, just like the Soccer World Cup, or football, I should say, for the global audience. Oh, okay, so we see Onus be played. And very quickly, so Onus was an interesting idea. I don't know that leave of AINOR was that good, but in fact, he did draw a bingo to the T of Anointer and re-anoint is actually going to play here, despite Ganesh's timely block of Uri. So that's a nice break for Phil. Ganesh saddled with a ton of vowels, and he correctly responded to Onus, which was a play that signaled a lot of bingo strength. When you see a play like Onus for just 8 points, you're definitely, from Ganesh's perspective, he's saying, all right, I need to block these lanes, which he did with Uri, but still Phil got down re-annoying with those overlaps. So that helps Phil a great deal to keep pace in this game. It really gives him some life that he may not have had without such a strong block from Ganesh. Or rather, if had Ganesh had a stronger block than he did, he might not have been able to get that word down. So, yes. Anyway, just continuing with a break in that action. Well, I was about to pause because I was going to say I think Ganesh's next move is probably coming quickly. He does play way up in the corner. He had a W and a ton of vowels, and that seems pretty reasonable. Ganesh, despite the bingo that just went down for Phil, is still pretty firmly in the lead. So it makes sense to make a play like that, scoring decently and blocking a couple of the new lanes that were created. So for anybody coming from TWL, Uri does take an R in this lexicon. So that is a potential line. Pardon my arrow. Here, I'll make the arrow a nice arrow. Oh, thank you to Ham and Egger for the sub. Is that a Benji gift sub? That's a real honest to goodness sub. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes. No, it is not. It is a real big boy sub. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So yeah, let's see. Phil has, he has a bonus. That's right. He could have played something with the B hook there. Instead, he plays Hajj. That looks pretty reasonable to me. He had a bunch of unappetizing consonants together, but Ganesh has isometry right off the bat. Wow, that's great. So Ganesh, I think on his play of way, he left something like IOET. And he drew just right to be able to play a really nice bingo. 86 points isometry. No surprise that would go down. Ganesh, very prodigious word knowledge. Obviously, you don't get to be the top rated player in the world, which he is for no reason. So definitely the anchor of Team Malaysia is Ganesh Asirvatham. But Phil, a very strong player in his own right. You saw in the 5-point challenge stat highlight thing that he has very strong word knowledge in his own right, and he has one of the higher bingo totals in the event. So he'll probably try to play something to the Y of isometry now. The score is such that he can't really leave it open and let Ganesh hit that spot himself because he'll run the risk of being outrun. So I would expect something like Bilji to be played there, and he's just going to have to hope to keep his R, right? Like we said before, if he keeps his R, it keeps that lifeline available for an Urier play, and then obviously there are some tiles in isometry that he can hit. There is a blank unseen. Hey, Udayan Grover is now following. Thank you very much for the follow. I've enjoyed watching you play, Udayan, a lot. You played great on the stream, and congrats to India for making the bracket portion of the event. Wow, that is a really surprising play. Give. I did not see that coming. I wonder what the thought process was behind Give with that open Y available, just to keep the board as open as possible. Probably also the hope with Give is that by keeping BL together, you can get a BLY word to the Y of isometry. But I think even without that, that Y is getting hit all the time, unless Ganesh has a bingo, which he did. He plays empathy, really nice play. So I don't know about Give. I think I get the thought process behind that, but I don't think that was the right way to go there. I think he had to get a few more points and block that Y. So now he is faced with an enormous deficit. Yeah, I think I see a request for potentially updates to some of the other games, which we can probably provide with this one pretty firmly in the control of Ganesh. So let me see who else. Okay, we had some votes for Peter Andronowski versus Andrew Chang, and that looks like it too is going in the way of going in favor of Malaysia. So hold on, let me get these flags correct. This is Peter versus Andrew Chang. Oops, Andrew Chang. And it looks like things are breaking in favor of Malaysia to start. So it is Peter's turn. He has really bad letters. There are 12 tiles in the bag. It's not hopeless for him here. Yes, yes, blowy. We actually saw blowies be played with IE. It actually is a noun in Collins. We saw that be played, and I encouraged all the viewers to keep their minds clean, not in the gutter. And isn't even what it means anyway. Okay, so Peter plays off his WU, which are the worst bingo tiles, but I wonder, is there something here? Sriracha doesn't quite fit to that sea of cowed here. Feels like there has to be. Oh, Saracen. Okay, I see Saracen here. Yeah, okay, it was spotted as well in the chat. Saracen to the end. At the very least, there might be other stuff available here. And frankly, even if Andrew does not bingo here, he's still in really good shape. If he just leaves the board pretty open. He can't know this, but we know for a fact that Peter has the X, so the odds of Peter bingoing aren't very good. And Andrew can just play off some of those unappealing duplicate letters and probably hit a Ling's play pretty easily. Actually, Ling in that spot is pretty interesting because there's two Y's on scene 2, so you could see a really big Lingy play go down there at some point, just as a possibility. So we think Andrew will spend all his remaining time looking for 9s and 10s. Yeah, there's certain players that are good at that stuff and enjoy the feeling of playing a 9 or a 10 just for style points. I am not one of those players. I've never had a particular talent for finding really long words, and I am a grinder. I have to study the word a little bit more. Oh, Sacraria also pointed out to the Sea of Cowed. Viscaria as well. Okay, so there are a bunch of things that can go down, and there is Sacraria. Nice play. The nice thing about Sacraria or bingoing at all in that position is that there are enough tiles in the bag such that you don't run the risk of getting out bingoed on here. So because there must have been 10 tiles in the bag on that turn, you see now there's 3. Had there been fewer, and if that bingo had emptied the bag, it could potentially lead to situations where if Peter Andronowski has an out bingo to the S or E or wherever, it could have caught Andrew with a bunch of tiles and lost him the game. But he doesn't have to worry about that. He just goes ahead, he plays his word, and it's looking pretty grim for Peter in this game. So the first 2 games we've looked at, definitely looking strong for Team Malaysia. Looks like 2 wins are likely to be in the bank. Let's see if we can identify any other games. How about Darren Koo? There's a good person to watch. All right, here's a game that looks like the UK is in decent shape, but certainly too close for comfort. This is between Darren and Paul Allen. So Paul, hold on, I'll get the names right. This is between Paul Allen and Darren Koo. And I know the names are reversed. Oh, actually, there. Okay, so now we're all set with this. Yeah, what can Paul do to maintain control of this game? I don't know. Maybe just something here. He could just play feet right there. That looks like it scores quite well and blocks a lot of the lines that represent threats to him. Seems like a reasonable idea. I mean, it's nice to block, but it also scores quite well. Looking at the tiles on the bottom, it looks like maybe there's a slight imbalance in favor of consonants. I feel like if you see the vowels, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vowels. Oh, he plays feated. I might have left that E off. It does score a bunch more points. But anyway, as I was getting to, there were 8 vowels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 consonants. That was before we saw that what Darren had on his rack. Oh, I didn't fix that yet. I'm sorry. I was almost there. It's a lot going on. I will fix that now. Malaysia. While we wait. Why did it do that? Okay. Think that did it. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Malaysia does have their top group here. Cedric did fine when he was pressed into duty. Wow, Wildness. Yeah, that is valid. That's a great play. I didn't see that, actually. I wasn't looking closely enough to note that that was available. So Paul, with a pretty effective block of most of the board by playing feated, nevertheless, Darren figured out how to get a bingo down. And wow, actually, unfortunately for Darren, he drew the Q. But he easily, from Paul's perspective, he easily could have just drawn a blank. He could have potentially drawn a blank bingo that maybe would play through the T and R both, something like that. Instead, he drew the Q, and it's not clear where he's going to be able to play it apart from right here, right? He can just play his Q there, but what can he hit with his remaining letters? Oh, he has QWERTY. That's right. I don't know if that plays anywhere. I guess it plays here, but then it empties the bag. So kind of a, yeah, I guess writerly. Yeah, that's it. So you play QI and you hope for writerly to be, I guess, do you need the blank for that? I suppose you do. But it's better that than no hope at all, I suppose. I wonder if it's better to play QIS, though, just to try a little harder to get the blank, even if it, I mean, does that really lower your bingo chances that much to use up the I here? I don't know. It's tough. It might. It may be better just to play the Q. The tiles in the bag you can always see in the lower left of your screen. I could make that more prominent. It is there. And obviously, due to the ISC interface, that changes basically every turn from each player's perspective. So as soon as Darren makes his play, it'll pop over to Paul's perspective of what's left. Okay, so he does opt. That's interesting. So he does opt to play. Oh, I see. QWERTY through WE on the board. That's interesting. That would be another really interesting idea. It looks like Darren, though, he's played cheese instead of just the Q right here. And in so doing, I wonder if that's landed him the blank, which now Paul is in a brutal situation where, in point of fact, you would have to calculate this very exhaustively to figure out which between the T and the R is more dangerous. Those are really the two spots that stand out as, you know, where a bingo is going down here. So from Paul's perspective, he's probably sitting back and saying, oh God, what do I do? Which one do I block? It seems a little bit like this R is more flexible, right? So the R has all this room, whereas the T demands that a bingo be played right through it. That's the only way a word can be played through the T, whereas this R has so much more room. So I think I agree with folks in the chat that are saying probably block the R if you have to block one thing. Comment that Darren might not need a bingo to win. That's also true. That is true. There is a possibility with really strong, if he has something like WY blank with some good flexible vowels, it's absolutely possible that if Paul is forced to make a low scoring block, like if he tries to block this R, he really can't do it given with, how many consonants he has. With that many consonants, there's almost no way to block it effectively and also score any acceptable number of points. So I wonder what to do here. It's not impossible that the biggest threat to Paul is maybe being outrun by a really flexible blank containing rack that also has a W and a Y in it. But boy, it would suck to draw a W and Y and just lose. I think if you draw W and Y, you're losing no matter what, because the T and R are both relatively equally hittable if his rack is satire blank. So that rack is just a loss. But teasing out some of the other scenarios, like what if the W's in the bag, but Darren has the Y, then maybe you can win in the end game with the W. This is tricky. This is a tricky one. Paul has 2 minutes and 30 seconds to work this out. I'm trying to imagine how to score points. Yeah, I saw ferment be suggested. I mean, that's not the craziest idea. I know it does give a bunch more lines to play through all the way through here, but there's definitely situations that ferment can win that other plays don't. I just don't think it's the winningest. It's probably not the winningest play. Suggestion of route and tang, that could be reasonable. Again, it feels like you really want to block the R, but maybe that's just not possible to do while also scoring enough points. At least route and tang scores 16. That's a respectable number that you can't get close to up in this top part of the board. There's no way to even get 16 points up there. So he may be forced to just say, all right, if you have it to the R, congratulations. So, wow, this could be an amazing win for Darren, who, when we cut to this game, it looked like Paul was pretty firmly in control. It seems like, so we watched Paul a few times on stream last week against India, and boy, it seemed like he got very unlucky. Just a bunch of really unlucky breaks at bad times. I feel like we're cursing him somehow. He's played pretty well on the whole on the stream. But let me just note that on his play of Feeded, when we came into this game, I was literally just counting down on the unseen tiles and noticing that it was a really, really heavy imbalance of consonants and vowels. And I just wonder... okay, so we finally see a play. Is there anything that fits to this T? Probably not. But now we're into the situation of, is Paul now at risk of being outrun? So Paul played get, and he drew the S. That's a big, big draw for Paul. You can see he drew the S out of the bag. It did block righterly. So Wei Bin had noted that as a potential several turns ago, and good call because, yeah, and Twittery doesn't quite fit down low either. So, yeah, I think I have, Malaysia now is the correct roster that you can see there. So is there a good play to the G that reaches all the way? I don't know. It's going to be tough. I would love to get a high point consonant on here, but I'm not sure that that's possible to do. Punchy. That's a nice idea. I don't know. That's tricky, though. Hard to see HE something ending in Y. You'd have to burn your blank to do it, and maybe that's not... Oh, where into is another idea. I guess that would be... That's also pretty tough. So there's definitely a ton of stuff to look at for Darren here. I mean, I'm sure he's looking everywhere to try to figure out where are the best spots to get some points here, because it doesn't look like he's going to be able to bingo through the tee. He's probably had a ton of time to look through the tee. Oh yeah, maybe, yes. They're into maybe a little easier. Yeah, this is brutal. There's just so much to consider here and not enough time. I can't even find a good play to the G up top. Gricey. Okay, that leaves WT. That's probably not enough for a second play that scores heavily. Well, he's got to make a play. Whatever it is, it's got to be quick. It may be that there's just nothing that great here, but he's got to make a play quickly. He plays Gritty. That, you know what? Gritty looks pretty good, actually. It leaves EW, which is very flexible compared to some of the other consonants. But that should get the job done for Paul. Smear. Nicely done. Wait a second. That's a word, right? Yeah, smear. Oh, it's with the two R's that I get that mixed up. Okay, so Paul looks like he ekes out a 2-point win. Very, very close. Exciting game there. A lot to process. So, all right, let me see. I think most of the games, yeah, we are now getting into the second round. So all the first round games are done. Let's get a poll up for what you guys would like to see in the second round. A lot of good matchups, and we're going to figure out what happened with all of the games. I think we know that Ganesh is very likely to beat Phil. Let's just make absolutely sure. History Juggernaut, yes. Andrew Chang defeating Peter Andronowski as well. Get those correct as all of the votes are coming in for what to watch. Thanks, everybody. For the record, not that I'm promoting myself too much, and not that this should sway anybody. This isn't really a big perk, but if you are a subscriber to my channel, your vote counts for 2 as opposed to 1. So congratulations to subscribers for getting an extra little boost. So Martin Teo beat James Curley. Oh, I had that wrong. Hold on. Thank you to Ganesh. Not Ganesh Asirvatham, but thank you for the follow. All right, so we had another win here for Malaysia. What happened with Femi in his game? History. Okay, it looks like Malaysia may have, wow, they had a great opening round, actually. Thank you, Dreamhog, very much for the follow. I see it. All right, so Paul, just by 2 points, just saved the UK from being swept in the opening round. So not the start that the UK wanted. Great start for Malaysia. Looks like Paul and Ganesh is a very popular choice for next round. And obviously, we just saw Paul finish up. So the two of them, he probably needs a minute to collect himself before starting the next game. So let me see what's going on with some of these other games. Who else got some votes? Peter and Martin. Let's go look at that and see how that started. So here we have Martin Teo and Peter Andronowski, our runner-up in the poll so far. Yeah, subs should get a lot more, but my poll thing only allows 2. I'm not sure how to change that. It'd be great to pump that up for sure. So yes. All right, so the match currently stands at UK 1, Malaysia 4. So that's a great start in the opening round. And General is played by Peter. And looks like a bingo should come down in response for Martin. Yeah, weenies. We've had some great words on the stream so far, or at least the previous stream. So bring them on. Bring on all the silly words. It's all good. That's what Twitch is all about. All right, this poll can be, we'll just minimize the poll for now. So yeah, my guess is that Paul Allen just taking a minute to let the steam come out of his ears after winning the last game by 2 points only. And I'm sure that he and Ganesh will get started, and we will focus on that game for a bit. So we've seen already that early leads can evaporate really fast in this format. It's happened a ton that we've seen already. So the UK in particular, with plenty of experience, coming back in dramatic fashion. Okay, Ganesh and Paul are underway. Martin Teo with a big lead in this game thanks to Weenies. So we'll check back in with that game as our first resort after this game finishes up and breaks in the action of this one. So it is Paul on top and Ganesh going second. Paul with a really weak rack to start. Will he play his own name? Paul Allen with a chance to play Ali. How could he not? Right? Even though Ioli is probably a little better. I guess let's see how committed Paul Allen is to playing optimal Scrabble. He plays Ioli instead of his name of Ali. That's commitment, folks. Oh my God. Ganesh immediately plays Sprinter, but Paul should just as quickly back play Digerati to the Eye of Ioli, and it's going to be off to the races with this game, folks. So Sprinter, definitely the best play there. Printers would not have hit both double word scores, although reprints would have. But reprints would have given back the preprints hook, I think. Is preprint an adjective? I think it's a noun. So, okay, there's Digerati as predicted. So nicely done by both players to very quickly find their bingos, I think. With a rack like that. Digerati, that's definitely, if you are not a seasoned Scrabble player, that's going to be hard to find that rack really fast. But if you are and you study the dictionary, that's definitely come up a lot. And you will find it relatively fast with just a little bit of preparation. Okay, well, now Ganesh drew a bunch of vowels, and he plays off his Y, he plays I, and I think Paul is going to play definitely some bingo somewhere here. He's got Stardom. He could play that with Sprinters if he wants. Iolis for fewer points. I think it's probably better to play it with Sprinter. Or Matadors to the A, yeah. So he's got bingos here, here, or rather the arrow goes that way, here and here. So he's got to figure out, probably he's looking through some of the other letters just to make absolutely sure that he doesn't have anything better. But we will definitely see a bingo be played here. I'd be shocked if not. There it is, Stardom. And Ganesh has drawn very poorly. We saw him play Uri with 2 O's before. I bet he's going to play Uri with the U now. And I bet it's going to be played within the next 5 seconds. That's my guess. 5, 4, 3. There you go. As predicted. Ganesh wasting no time. Oh, wow. Another nice set of letters. I don't know yet if Paul has a bingo here. There's definitely 8s with this rack. He has Ocellate. He has Ocellate. So another right here. Are we getting updates on the end game between Paul and Darren? Was Gracie potentially the winning play? Was that a win for Darren there? So that was the only game Malaysia lost, and it did seem like that could potentially have been a winnable end game there. No. Okay, so no Quackle, but Gracie beats Smear by 1. Got it. Okay, so we'll have to look another time. Actually, I could just take a quick moment for those curious while we wait for Paul to find Ocellate. Just give me 2 seconds here. Just gonna cut into this game again, and we'll go right back to that other game. All right, very good. We're back, and I am curious to see what would happen with this, although I have to open a new Quackle window. All right, he's found Ocellate. Nicely done. So Paul just piling on the bingos. He's drawing them. I feel that he's sort of overdue for that. As I said, he's sort of drawn quite poorly. Ganesh, on the other hand, does have Nosedive through the eye of Digirati, and he plays it really fast. And now Urethane is going to be played for Paul at the very least. I'm not sure what else he has, but Urethane through the T of Ocellate is available. There might be something better, but let's see. So that's going to be 4 bingos in a row for Paul when he spots this, which I'm sure he will. That's Scrabble. That's how it goes sometimes. This is why we need a lot of games to play to make everything even out. So, Ganesh is doing all he can. Oh my God. Despite that, Ganesh is going to play Hymnist at the very least. He can play Hymnist now for 107 points. And Paul is going to have bingoed 4. He's going to have bingoed 4 straight times. Thanks for the follow, Black Rabbit. Appreciate that. Hope you enjoy the coverage of the Virtual World Cup. So Paul Allen here is going to have bingoed 4 straight times, and the end result is going to be basically an even game. Amazing. So yeah, that was had to have been among the best plays, if not the best. Was there anything better? Nope, that was it. Actually, if we cut to, this. This is Paul Allen versus Ganesh, and Paul is on top. All right, there we go. So you can see now when we cut to the Quackle, Hymnist, the only bingo available on that turn. And there were plenty of other strong plays, down low through the E of Urethane, Hyman right there. That would have been pretty good if you miss Hymnist. But 107 points, can't refuse that. So well done to Ganesh, and it is basically an even game. I mean, Paul still has the advantage because it's a really open board, and he gets first crack at scoring something nice here, which at the very least, he can play something like Weep through that E, and that will be pretty strong. Cowpie pointed out that plays right here for 49 points. That would be amazingly good. That would be an incredible play, parallel play of Cowpie right there. I would probably miss that unless I'm really locked in. Maybe I'd find it sometimes. There's just so many other good spots on the board to distract your eye. This spot is probably like, I don't know, 3rd or 4th down on the list behind this spot right here, this spot right here. This spot is number 1. This spot's probably number 2. So I'll be very, very impressed if Paul manages to get that down. All right, while we are thinking about that, let me see if I can find the Darren game. Whoops, excuse me. So here it is. I used the Quackle converter from ISC, and we're just going to see really quick what he had available on that gritty turn for those that were curious about one of the previous games we watched. So it looks, according to Quackle, it says that in that game there were no wins and that the best play was Registry. So Gricey apparently not a winning play for Darren. It doesn't seem to beat Smear, according to this. But maybe there were challenges or something. Did Darren challenge a word? Or Paul might have challenged. Paul challenged Wildness. Okay, so in that situation, there definitely would have been wins, right? So I see. Got it. So the extra points would have won it. But apparently Registry was available through the R and the G. That works out even better. You see Registry up there was the best evaluated play. You keep the W and then you just plop it down afterwards by itself. Okay, Cowpie is played. That's a great play by Paul Allen. Really, really nice. Of course, Ganesh does have the Z, and there are a ton of spots for it, but I'm not sure that he can actually crush those spots as hard as he would like to. So spots for the Z, well, there is this one. That's pretty easy. You just dump your Z there. But it would be great if you could figure out a way to get the Z there. There isn't any way to do that. Is there any way to score a ton of points and keep the Z? I doubt that as well. Question about Doke. Yeah, maybe D-O-E-K. That looks pretty nice. Let's look at that. Let's just have a quick sim on that. Let's see what it thinks. So some of the other plays, we don't really need all of these plays. I'll just take these top 5 and just see what Quackle thinks on a quick sim. Wow, very strong preference for Zay. I think that's probably because most of the vowels that you draw give you redraws at those really big plays up there with the K, except on your redraws you can use the B with them instead of the D. I think almost everything you can draw, if you draw any vowel, gives you something really big. Maybe not the I. So that's pretty interesting. Enter in Bach. Where's Bach going? Looking around for good spot for Bach. He plays Bokt instead. That's interesting. Only 39 points for that play. Really, he's just really going all out for getting a huge, very, very high Z play up in the top corner. That is a curveball there. I didn't see that coming. So, oh, I see. He leaves G-E-Z. I get it. Okay. So by playing Bokt, he's going for G's at the very least, or potentially he could draw a gaze or something like that. So G's alone, although there are not that many E's to draw. So I'm curious about that. I think the nice thing about Bokt, oh, he also sets up Zek for himself on the next turn. Very, very interesting choice. It does score solidly, 40. It feels a lot to sacrifice, but G-E-Z also, the nice thing about it is you also retain some tiny amount of bingo chances, right, with G-E-Z. Let's see, what does it think? How often does he bingo after that? Okay, very, very minimally. A lot of the other plays are 0, but Bokt is basically near 0 anyway. So, yeah, it's not a bingo-y play. But yeah, a gaze, gauze, a couple other things in that spot all score like a huge, huge amount. Now, wait a second. Where is Cobb going here? I don't understand Bach and Cobb. Cobb and Ka set up Bez. And where? I don't even see where that's supposed to go. Oh, Grizz as well. All right, well, that was very, very interesting. Ganesh, obviously, Bach N1. Oh, just right here. Just right here? Wait, N1? Oh, up here. Bach and Kai. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys think that's good, that's fine. Yeah, a lot of different options in that turn. All right, let me not have Quackle open constantly. We'll use it when we need to. All right, so Paul, I'm surprised. Okay, so he sees Bokt be played. Amazingly, he has a play that looks pretty good for him here. But it's going to give Ganesh a crack at hitting that Z for a gazillion points. We'll see what he ended up drawing. I think there isn't enough help for him with the E's. I really feel like that G-E-Z leave. Wow, he plays Florin and it blocked a gaze. Oh my God. That's amazing. That is insane. That is really top shelf. So, I mean, I wonder, that is absolutely amazing. I would have played Feek there no matter what, just because you're definitely getting hammered with the Z regardless. I know you're saving yourself a lot of grief. You're saving yourself 40 points worth of grief. by blocking it here, but I just would probably look at that pool and be like, well, the odds of having something here are pretty high, and the odds of having a Z play that hits especially hard are low enough that I would have played Feek for sure. I would have played Feek for sure. All right, I gotta look at this one. Florin Q. I am definitely less confident that this play is going to sim well, but maybe if I put in some kind of Z inference into the sim, I mean, the nice thing about Florin is you do get some help from the U's sometimes, right? Like, there's definitely, if you look in the bottom left, you can definitely see that there are 2 U's down there. But yeah, I can't imagine feeling compelled to block that spot in that situation with so many other threats lurking. Was he worried? Oh, maybe worried about the J as well. But the J still plays. It just doesn't play. Well, it doesn't play very well. It doesn't play. So that does pretty conclusively block the J. Wow. Okay, so Florin is right outside the top group. It's right there. It's not far behind on the sim, but man, I would have played Feek there for sure, because you can get into trouble with the Q just as often as you get hammered with the Z here, I think. Okay, that was really, really interesting. Ganesh does bomb his Z anyway. He had a bunch more vowels, so he pops the A on at the end, which makes total sense. I think he left agio there. And Paul did draw a U to go with his Q. So now, not only that, he can play GIF. He can play GIF for 60, leaving QU. So that is pretty intense. Amazing sequence there. So that is... this has been an amazing game. I think that Boked turn requires a ton more analysis, but boy, it's pretty amazing how well it simmed immediately. So that was definitely a stunner. Keeping the Z on that turn has huge upside. I mean, I think the reason that Boked is so good is that it's just, you get a minimum of 60 points pretty much every time. There's no way you're not getting that, and then you've got upside of 100. So that must push it over the top. Wow. Oh my God. He plays Fig. I am very surprised by that. Leaving JQ, which can really get him into trouble, right? I think we've all been in that situation. We've all been in that situation late in the game where you have a power tile and you hold on to it maybe one turn too long, and we all know what happens when you have too many power tiles on your rack at once. They start to clunk up and make it really unwieldy for you to get rid of them in efficient fashion. So given the fact that the J, the Q, and the X were all unseen, or rather, I mean, Paul had the J and the Q, and there was an X unseen to him as well. He could easily have drawn that X as well, and now he's going to be in a situation in the end game where it's going to be very difficult for him to unload all those tiles. And Ganesh, not only that, is sitting on a blank. The board is very poor for bingoing, so there is that, but I mean, it's not crazy to imagine Ganesh dumping some of his, worst tiles on this rack and figuring out a way to bingo with nosedive or nosedived or something. Wow, GIF would have been a big swing there, I think. I mean, 20 points does not feel like a great cushion here. Okay, so the question now is, what will Ganesh play? So it's pointed out that obviously 3 power tiles unseen to him and only 3 vowels compared to 7 consonants. So definitely incentivizes Ganesh to use up his consonants here, keeping vowels left over. So maybe a play just like UGH, ugh, maybe that. keeping AIOV that's likely to fill out decently. I'm not sure that it's going to hit the F very well. It's hard to come up with a play that draws into things that are going to bingo through this F. The F, already not a good bingo tile. Is Ganesh known to strongly rely on inference? I'm not sure. I would guess that it's definitely part of his toolbox, given that, you know, he is an incredibly strong player, the highest rated player in the world. I would assume that pretty much everything that's available to you as a player is a skill that he has. So, yeah, interesting. Playing to block the X bomb, but I feel like that's, I mean, there's still X bombs that play here, and Jif scores 30 more points anyway. So you're leaving so many scoreboard points left on the board. It just has to have been a miss, I think. I don't know. It feels like that to me. I'm not sure. Maybe that would be an amazing strategic choice if that's how he made that choice. UG as a suggestion, UG 12L. Oh yeah. So by the way, just so you guys know, I have the axes inverted from ISC. So when you see the last in that move underneath Ganesh's name in the panel, it says that his move was N10. That's what ISC says. But I have the axes inverted so that when we cut to Quackle, it looks correct. So, all right. I'm not really sure how to approach this. Maybe ask championship player. Let's just do a dumb sim and see what it wants. Saying ovum, which looks kind of bizarre. I don't know. Does that make sense to block this real estate in that way? I guess you're really, when you're playing ovum, you're probably really pinning your hopes on hitting a bingo through the E of nosedive, or maybe that maxes your chance of hitting a bingo to the F of florin. That's tough. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's blocking. Oh, maybe that. Okay, so now maybe it likes ovum because with Fig having been played, now you would play ovum to block this X bomb spot. That might be the idea. Tough call. Tough one. Not sure. So Ali E was not played. Oh, maybe Vum. Yeah, maybe Vum. I don't see Vum on the list. It seems like a nice idea to play Vum and set up the O. That looks great. That has some upside to it. Obviously, the problem with it is that it doesn't score very well, and you're sort of committed to bingoing there, especially with, you can expect Paul to have a, power tile to score pretty well with. So again, I'm not really sure if just dumb simulation is the way to evaluate this position. I'm sure it's not, in fact. So I think we got to use our brains a little bit more. There is absolutely a difference between championship player and sim. You will get different results with those two very, very frequently. Championship player is a little bit more robust of a play engine. Simulation literally just always picks the highest equity play that your opponent has as its choice, which we know that plays that score well and leave good tiles left over are often very good, but sometimes they are not. A suggestion of favor. Burning the blank for 36, leaving GI and just hoping to go out first. I don't know. I mean, tricky. This is a very, very tricky position. Oh, man. And Ganesh, who is a very, very fast player. Yeah, okay. So if Ganesh is using inference, I would have to imagine he's looking at Fig and he's saying that the J could not have been on Paul's rack because otherwise he would play Jif. But of course, we know that's not the case, right? We know that's not the case. Another thing about Fig is maybe he's thinking that that was played to block the X. So maybe there's a slightly greater than average chance that Paul does not have the X or the J. In fact, we know that Paul does have the J. and could easily also have the X. So that's going to fiddle a little bit with Ganesh's inference. You know, I don't know why. I think with this lane right here, I think I absolutely do not prefer playing Ovum, right? I would much prefer playing something that leaves this as a spot for Ganesh if he's able to hit the N or the T or something. If Ganesh can hit the N or the T, he absolutely can bingo to this spot. I don't see why he would block that. I think I would really love to see him play off other tiles somewhere that do not block that area. I think I kind of like Vow for that reason, right? You're using up your V and your U. He plays Ugh. He plays Ugh. Ganesh plays Ugh instead. So Ganesh playing Ugh, and Paul has JQX all on his rack. Amazing. Let's just cut back to this. This is going to be an insane ending. This is amazing. So he plays Ugh. He must have just been a little bit worried about the X, obviously, and Paul did have the X, but he did not have either of the A's. Well, I guess Ganesh had one of them. But basically that looks like a play that blocks the X-bomb and potentially the easiest place to just dump your Q for a good score. Right? So it not only has the dual benefit of blocking a potentially really big 50-point X play and blocking the easiest place for the Q to go down for 30. So now where is the Q even going to play? Oh, man. So you can see how much better of a position this would have been for Paul had he played Jiff. He would have 20-something points in the bank, and he would not have the J on his rack here, saddling him with the Q and the X as well. Okay, there's one tile in the bag. There's one tile in the bag. Yeah, this just looks like it is too... This looks too unwieldy. I don't see it for Paul here. It's going to be too difficult to shed these tiles and score anything productive. And that was going to be the case even before Ganesh playing Ugh. If Paul happened to have an A, Ugh would have been especially devastating. But either the other A is left in the bag or, yeah, Flavin or something, or like Favicon. That could go down easily. You can see that. If the A is in the bag, you could see Favicon go down. That would score a boatload of points and basically guarantee easy win. I mean, all those places they have. He could have Favonian. Actually, wait a second. Ganesh could, if there's an I in the bag, Ganesh is bingoing to the F. Okay, he does not have Favonian. The A was in the bag. The A was in the bag. Does Ganesh have anything anywhere else on the board? So Paul plays Jaw. He goes up 30, but he has a horrible rack. It seems... Man, this is going to be pretty crazy. Okay, so... Yeah, that I saw a couple of times unfix would have been a really helpful play to have. So, all right, let me see what's going on in this end game, which Quackle could easily get wrong because there's just too much going on with the Q and other stuff, potential, unplayed tiles. Okay, Vision is played. That should easily do it. Oh my God, folks, check this out. Did anybody spot that? Variation placed right here as an out bingo. That would have been absolutely insane. But as you can see, or maybe you can't see, I'll just get rid of this. Ganesh's play of Vision looks like it's a winner. So there's no need to find Variation to still win the game, but oh my God. Variation with 3 overlaps as a 9-letter word and a blank through the middle of the board. But it is fully academic because obviously even if Paul plays something like Qua for 39, he still has the X left over. And Ganesh with an A is going to be able to just, I don't know, he'll just dump his A like here and catch Paul with the X. and he will squeak out a narrow win after that. Oh my god. Oh my god. Cameron Paul when he misses GIF. Yeah, he'll I think that has to have been a miss, and that is going to hurt. There's definitely going to be okay, so does Ganesh have to play carefully here to win? Yeah, he has to play. He has to get Wad, which he will. We know he's going to find that. Well, we don't. We actually. He has 5 seconds. Okay, he found it. All right, he was down. It should be noted, I wasn't even paying attention to the clocks, but Ganesh was down to 5 seconds, and stranger things have happened with time pressure than, maybe he throws down something that's a tie instead of a win. But as it turns out, Ganesh is the winner of this incredible game, this extremely, extremely interesting game. All right, so that's it. That's it for that round. So let's go ahead and have a look really quick. All the games have been completed. While I figure out who's won those games, let's get up the poll for round 3 and get everybody's opinions on who we want to see. Okay, the round 3 streaming matchup poll is up. We know that Ganesh won his game with Paul Allen. And let's see the other games. It looks like Martin Teo defeated Peter Andronowski. That is another win for Malaysia. They're racking up pretty quickly. So the wins are heavily in favor of Malaysia right now, but that happened to the UK before. Let's look at Phil Robertshaw and his game. That looks like it was a win for Andrew Chang. Another one for Malaysia. So it's getting to be a pretty heavy lead in favor of Malaysia now. Femi did defeat Darren. That's a huge win for the UK to stave that off. And James versus Vanita was a win for Vanita. So that is looking good for Malaysia right now. They have a very, very big lead after 2 4-1 wins. So we'll just cut back to this. We'll continue to have the poll up while I adjust the score. It is 8-2 in favor of Malaysia. So Malaysia is not only in danger of pulling away with this match, they also have a chance of pulling ahead in Group A. So as you can see, the pool play standings right here, India has something like 40 wins, and coming into this match, we know that Malaysia had 24 wins. So I think India has like 41 now. So given that India has 41 wins, if Malaysia can get 18 from this matchup, they will pass India and win their group. So, all right, it looks like current preference is for Ganesh again and Femi, who we have not seen on the stream yet. So I would definitely favor somebody we haven't seen, and obviously watching Ganesh is a lot of fun, clearly. So yeah, we've all seen other Scrabble broadcasts where there isn't a lot of democracy in who gets to vote for what, and people are reluctant to have the same players on the stream every time. I think that in order to encourage viewership, the viewers should get what they want. And if that's a certain player, that player should be on stream. So that's my thought. And it looks like Femi and Ganesh is the choice. So we'll just hide the poll for now, or maybe I'll just try to let the poll come in a little bit smaller so you can still vote. Yeah. Comment from Deldar182 about democracy. Yes, I definitely remember being squarely on your side regarding issues with MSI. Oh, the stream title. Yes, I will fix that now. Thank you very much. This is Malaysia versus the UK. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't update that in between. There was a lot of changeover. I think it should be updated now. Thank you very much. So Ganesh and Femi have yet to start. A couple of the games have started. But it will be good to get in on the ground floor of that one. Let's just see what's going on with some of the other games. You haven't seen Vanita on stream yet. So here, I'll cut to this one. Flags are reversed. There you go. Okay, so still early. This is the runner-up matchup between Peter and Benita. So, okay, we got Ganesh and Femi going. So basically, if that game turns out to be a blowout, which obviously the previous match between these two guys was not at all, we'll cut back to Peter and Benita. That'll be our first resort. So we'll close the poll for now. How do you reply to somebody? You just put an @ sign and do their name. Whatever their name is. Okay, so Jeton is played. That looked pretty simplistic. Nicely done by Ganesh. And Femi, who we have not seen on the stream yet, is going to answer back with a boatload of vowels. And no great place to score or do anything with them. So again, this is it. This is the last match of pool play. We've had 3 weeks of it. Also, this is not round 1. This is round 3. So we are into round 3 of the final. All right, a lot of rounds and threes and stuff going on, but we are in round 3 of the final match of week 3 of pool play of the Virtual World Cup. There we go. I got it all out. I said it all. So basically what that means is that the winner of this match advances to the bracket and the loser does not. The loser is out. It's very simple. There's no tiebreakers or anything to consider. So May is played there, which that's sort of an in-between play. There were options available for Femi to leave a more flexible leave, and then there were options that maybe scored a few more points than that. But it looks like, I don't know, it's relatively reasonable. So other options that he could have done there were just to play 3 vowels with EAU or AUE. Ganesh answers very quickly with an X-bomb, and that looked pretty good. So Ganesh continuing his trend of playing relatively quickly. Femi seems to be a fast player himself. So now here's the question. Do you have the stomach to play this, right? So this is absolutely the top equity play here. It scores decently well given the poor low point tiles that he has with the duplicate T's and the U's, but it sets up a gigantic E hook, which you have to imagine your opponent has an E the vast majority of the time. So I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. Maybe it's better to just play tie, right? Maybe you want to just play it safe. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you're Femi here, are you going to say, well, I'm playing Ganesh. He's the top-rated player in the world. I need a bit of a break, and one of those breaks that I need is him not having an E, right? So I leave this, and I leave my awesome leave of rate. I feel like maybe given the relative gap in between just, the win expectation of the two players, I would probably play TUI. I would probably play Tui. Instead, he plays Tut. That can't be correct. I know we're just talking about me being friendly, but that is only 5 points, and the resulting board is just terrible for that leave. Basically, any play now, if Ganesh is able to play something with Oxy, the board is absolutely dead. I don't know if he can, though, actually. Okay, he plays Iwis. Wow, so to his leave. Okay, so Femi, Tut may not have been a good play, but he did just draw FQ to it, which is especially grievously bad of a draw. He will be able to just dump his Q, but that was not good when you're trying to bingo to draw FQ, so I do feel bad for that. But does he have anywhere to play Fakir? I don't think so. Yeah, I think it looks pretty clear Chi here. And there it is. So Ganesh manages to have a bad rack, sort of, despite having 3 S's on it. And I think just part of that... Oh, actually, it can't be that bad when it scores 30 like that. So that was fine. That's a good play, leaving SL or so. No, SS. So Ganesh playing Quills, leaving SS. That's definitely correct. Okay, so Ganesh out to a pretty quick early lead. Femi's drawn bad. I didn't love the play of Tut. In point of fact, Tut would have caught, Tui would have caught Ganesh completely off guard, right? Because on his play of Iwis, I think Ganesh had like another S and then another I and an L or something like that. So he would have been very hard pressed. He would have had to do his best to play underneath. Actually, he had an L, so he probably would have played something with Jails if he had something available there. But it would have been much tougher to deal with that play after Tui. Yeah, okay, IILSSWY. So it was not going to be super easy to play underneath there productively. He would have figured out some way, but yeah, Trefa suggested. Let me see, is the scores correct here yet? Almost. So it's, oops, that's Ganesh. And he's up against Femi, not... Yeah, Trefa, definitely the best play here. I switched to the screen so I could show you that. Nope, sorry, not there. Here. Yeah, Trefa, the best play by a long shot there, 41 points. So well done, well played to Femi there. That's definitely correct. Nicely played. All right. So Ganesh leaving SS, he drew HV to it, but I imagine he's going to play Shrove. That looks pretty good. 32 leaving NS, so Ganesh is edging ever closer to getting a bingo down. That certainly feels like a solid play here. So we just got finished in the previous round watching an unbelievable... Oh, that looks like a small miss, right? Do we think? Vyson leaving HRS for 34 as opposed to Shrove leaving NS. So maybe that's the mighty Ganesh with a slightly suboptimal move, I would think. Do we agree with that? I mean, obviously it is kind of like a Nigel syndrome, where anytime a really, really strong player makes a play that doesn't feel best, we jump to, you know, well, why did they do that? They must have had a reason. But I think what Sim's best way been Vyson does? Or Shrove? Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. Urethras at minimum. Maybe there's something better, but Ganesh will be bingoing here, I would think. Didn't really analyze that play of Loci by Femi too much. We could see the E-hook be played at some point of Loci. But I would imagine we will see a bingo here to extend Ganesh's lead, and there it is. Okay, well, Goateed is going to come down. Derogate was just blocked, but Goateed still plays with Log and Ono at the very least. And, oh, Nug, it also plays with Nug. So a couple different spots here for... Oh, and Dojate is also available if Femi wants that. But he is down 100 here. So he's got to get his bingo, and then he needs help after that on his draw. He's got to have Ganesh draw something weak, and he needs something good at this score if he's going to come back in this game, which will be a tall order for sure. Yes, Doge is very Twitch and internet in general appropriate. So maybe Doge 8. Yeah, there it is. Doge 8 my homework. Okay, well, from Femi's perspective, he was hoping that Ganesh drew poorly after his bingo. Oh, wow. It actually, I was going to say he would probably be unhappy to know that Ganesh drew the blank, but actually he drew as well as he could be expected to. You can play Radiable here, or who knows what else. Oh, there's definitely something rideable through the E of Trefa. So there's definitely bingos. That is what Femi needed. Femi needed a good draw after playing Doge 8, and he got it. So something bingo-y will happen here, and it's going to give Femi a narrow lead, which the game was looking like it was getting out of hand for Femi, so that draw was really critical. So we'll see where he opts to play. Suggestion of Bladier, 11K. Does that 11J. I think that runs off the board. Yeah, slightly off the board. That would be great to get all those overlaps. It doesn't quite fit though. Yeah, I think definitely Femi, just having a look through all the letters, I would imagine that he's going to play. Yeah, it still is early. I've been at this for a while, so I'm feeling awake now. But here, let's have a look and see the top plays available. So rideable to the E of Trefa, radiable to the A of Dojate. Maybe Braille to Nub is the safest, right? Maybe this spot right here is where you should play for 71, because the other plays both put letters in the triple lane that look pretty appealing. Braille at least does not do that. If Femi does play Braille, he's only going to be up a small number of points. So, okay, that looks like a big... What could be the reason to do that? That looks like leaving points on the table needlessly to me. 64 points, he could have gotten 7 more for Brailled and also blocked the the lines of Dojate in the process. There is no S left, so he doesn't have to worry about blocking the Dojate's hook, except for blanks can still play there. So Ganesh quickly plays Bang. That's interesting. I'm not sure what he had. It went so quick. But he has a blank, so oh wow. Fire Trap does not quite fit. That would be amazing. If Femi drew another bingo through the E here, that would have been a big swing, obviously. It would have given him pretty firm control. Okay, he had NO blank. Oh wow, Ganesh drew the other blank. He drew the other blank. So Frapp looks like a solid equity play. In fact, it was the best equity play available there by a fair margin. You can see Frapp. And the score of the game is close enough that you really can't eschew plays like that just because you feel your opponent is kind of strong, because you need the points. You need, from Femi's perspective, he probably needs to bingo again. And the best way to do that would be to play his highest equity play there. So is there a triple through the P? I don't know. That's tough. I see Payancado suggested. That's pretty cool. That would be a really nice play. So I'll just spoil it for everybody and show you guys that the top plays here are all plays that play with bangs. And they score 106. But as you guys have pointed out, there are no S's. And after Ganesh makes this play, there will be no blanks. So I wonder if maybe, as you guys have suggested, that something to the P, Pinacoid, Payancado, any of these plays, is actually better because of the lack of blanks and S's available. Maybe it's better to play this and then follow up with a play that blocks the E of Dojate, and then the board is not so good. I guess there's this S here too that could be scary. So maybe it's okay to play. Maybe it's okay to play non-skid, just because at the very least you're blocking this S, which every now and then gets you in trouble. So yeah, I'm sure there are more 9-timers through the P than through the S, but you get a bunch more points by playing non-skid and bangs, and you still block a handful of 9-timers to the S. And the S obviously is a bigger threat as a starting tile, right? You can definitely see things be played with the S as the initial letter of the word. S in second position is not that good. Okay, so he does play Doeskin. And did that block? He has Timider. Does that block anything? I guess not. So... Wow, very quickly. So Doskin played. We'll cut away from Quackle, and it looks like Ganesh is in good shape. Very quickly, Femi plays primed. I'm interested by that, just because from his perspective, he might have felt he needed to keep that P open just as a threat. It's interesting that he just very quickly decided to close the spot. It might have been as good of a play as he had available on that turn. It just came down really fast is all. So now after Doskin, the S of Quills is basically, that's pointless to worry about. There's nothing doing there. I suppose it's possible that a bingo could play through the L, but really this E is the big spot of the board as it is currently constituted. So from Ganesh's perspective, all he's looking for is a play that blocks this E, and he should be pretty much home free in this game. Prideable, yeah, I don't think so. Not a bad idea. So like he can play Pote right here. That's pretty good. It scores 34 and really pretty much fully blocks that E. It actually does fully block that E. So scores well, leaves 2 in the bag. Okay, there it is. And there it is. So that looks pretty good. And yeah, this is just looking grim for Femi here. So he made a good run at it. Obviously, after Rideable and Dojate, he was briefly in the lead for just a moment. But Ganesh had the first blank and drew the second to it and just hammered Doskin for 106. Nicely done. So this is definitely closing in for Malaysia on. So for those that are joining from ISC or anyone unfamiliar with the format of this event, just a quick overview. The 2 teams in each match, they play 5 rounds where all 5 players on each team play all 5 members on the other team. And you continue doing that until every player has played every other player on the other team. That yields a total of 25 games per match, and whichever team wins 13 or more is the winner. So the magic number is 13. You can see the score of this match currently is UK 2, Malaysia 8. So Malaysia is knocking on the door. They're very close to getting that magic number 13 that will stamp their ticket into the bracket. So we are currently in pool play. You can see we've been at this for 3 weeks. This is the final match of pool play. The final match in week 3. All the teams will be slotted after this. Let's just cut back really quick. We see that Femi plays ZEA, emptying the bag. So pretty much this is just an academic endgame. So yeah, anyway, so pool play, right. All the matches in pool play have been played. This is the last one to go. And once we play this, we will have our fully completed bracket. Malaysia actually is challenging to win 18 games or more in this match. And if they do, they will swap places with India. They will take this spot with India, and then India would go and play Pakistan. But again, that is contingent on Malaysia winning 18 games or more in this match. And it's not really clear. I mean, in a vacuum, I would definitely prefer to play Pakistan than Australia. Australia, an incredibly strong team that won the Alchemist Cup, but Pakistan running roughshod over everybody they play online. So I don't think it's particularly any better to play one or the other here, but that is what's at stake for the teams. The winner of this match gets to enter the bracket, and the loser has to watch from home. Of course, everybody is from home, playing from home as well. But you get the point. So that's what's going on. That's what we're up to here. And so basically, this is, as I said, this is fully academic. We know Ganesh is going to win this. So why don't we cut to some of the other games that were happening? I think, oh, did I end the poll? What else was doing well in the poll? Peter and Vanita. Okay, that's interesting. And the flags are correct. Why don't we just cut to this? So it's Vanita versus Peter Andronowski. Where is she? There we go. Okay, very good. The scores are now correct. Okay, so we're basically chalking up a win for Malaysia in the game between Ganesh and Femi. All the other matches are still in progress, and we're cutting here to what would be a much needed win for the UK if Peter can hold on in this game. But just getting the lay of the land here. Looks like Peter's rack is kind of unpromising. He does not have a place to bingo. There are some 8s that bingo, but None are available here, and there are both blanks unseen right here. So you can see that would be a big deal if Benita, oh, hold on. Where's my, oh, I want my arrow here. Yeah, there we go. So those are looming large. There's still time for, if Benita has one in bingos, she could draw another one. So maybe Peter wants to play as many tiles as he can here. I'm not sure. But he's definitely in a good position overall. So I'm just looking around to see what might be a good option. I don't understand all these heads, all the emotes. I gotta get my subs going for some of these. I don't have the full set of Scrabble emotes right now. Okay, so here is the exact situation that I was talking about. So Benita has a bingo, and she's gonna play it. Could she draw the other blank and bingo with it? Well, now if you look at the pool on the bottom of the screen here, it's not promising, right? She definitely could hit something with that pool, but it doesn't look very good. The odds of it aren't great. There's just too many clunky consonants in there along with the blank. So she's going to really have to draw just right if she wants to get a second bingo that's going to allow her to overtake Peter here. Okay, so officially that game ended. The other game between Ganesh and Femi, and that turns out to be a win for Malaysia. So that's going to be number 9. Again, they're climbing towards 13. I'll adjust the score at the end of each round. So yeah, Vomito. I actually see Timothy available, right? If she draws Timoth blank, she will have Timothy up here, right? There's that available. That's not particularly likely, but it's the only thing I see. Report that Phil has won. Okay, that's helpful. That is very helpful. And this looks like it's going in the direction of the UK as well. So they really need every game they can get. So Phil beating Martin Teo. Wow. Okay, so 2 H's and MOOT. Cold is a very surprising play. Yeah, I'm surprised by that. I mean, he may be, so Peter may have been emboldened by how bad the pool is, but I still don't think that warrants putting more lanes on the board. Like, yeah, the pool is really bad, but I'm sure you're opening yourself up to like 1 or 2 more losing possibilities than you would have previously. So there must have been some other way not to open that. Like, couldn't there, I mean, why not just play something on top of Dobby, or like this, playing anything here cuts down on your potential losing like situations a lot more than opening does. So I don't think it's going to burn him. Oh, Vanita is only down to 29 seconds, so she doesn't have a ton of time to think it over. So she plays, wow, you know what? That's interesting. She doesn't have a ton of time, so she plays Moth for 38. That's actually a pretty good score. So now she's only down by 5. And she has really good tiles to pair with the blank to potentially go out. Let's see what she will do, actually. It's kind of a, I mean, I feel like Peter should be able to come up with some high enough scoring play to win, but it's not immediately obvious. Hyoid goes out, but even just Hoy, Hois right here. I mean, there's definitely a bunch of other plays that go out. So he has to come up with something that scores pretty well. I mean, what about just like Vital or Vita? 32. That should probably do it, right? That blocks the good spot to go out, I would think. Doesn't give up hooks. That ought to do the trick. Oh, Bravi should be even better. So, yeah, Bravi looks like a good idea. Let's What about just like Hoi? 24. Yeah, that's not enough, I don't think. Yeah, it's well short. Not well short, but just single digit short. Okay, so she does play Hoys, and it looks like, you know, pretty solid win there for Peter. We did think he was going to... can he go out? Oh, could he go out with LT? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe not. It's hard for her to win anyway. Okay, so more of the games are finishing up. So, all right, that was a win for... That was a win for Peter. So again, the UK getting some much needed support here. James versus Darren Koo. He also won. So the UK coming up with a really big round right as they needed it. And the last game in this round is between Paul Allen and Andrew Chang. So why don't we just have a look at this? Sorry, let's just do this. Okay, so this one looks like it is pretty firmly in control of Andrew, and that's going to be it. Okay, so let's cut back to the matchup coverage and get the poll up for next round and see what you guys want. Good matchups here. A lot of good ones. I don't think we've seen Darren on the stream, and I'm not sure if we've seen Peter much. I think we saw him a little bit and then maybe cut away for another matchup, so... this is going to go in the direction of Malaysia. So, all right. So the UK not getting too much help from that round. They did win the round 3-2, but they need more than that. It's currently UK 5, Malaysia 10. So Malaysia knocking on the door. They need only 3 more. Just cut back to this screen and make sure. All right, the players are all waiting. It looks like the round has sort of concluded at roughly the same time. So get your votes in because we can get in on the ground floor with any of these games. They are all still waiting. Very close between number 1 and number 5. That's going to be tight. I see it's very split. Somebody just followed. I heard that. Thank you very much to Yulin Spiegel 1000. I appreciate the follow. Hope you enjoy the coverage. All right. It looks like the scales are. Oh, Weibin is a subscriber, so his vote counts for 2. Wow, another 2 vote. All right. So this is pretty close. This is a very high engagement poll, and it's just flipping back and forth constantly. It may eventually wind up in favor of Ganesh here at this point. Some votes count for 10. Yeah, he's only 1 vote. All right, it's looking pretty good for James versus Ganesh. We have not seen James on the stream, so... I think it's a good choice. And obviously, if any of these games turn out to be a blowout, we can definitely switch from one to the other. So neither of the games that are being voted for have started yet. So we'll just wait. Wow, it's close. Thank you to Sean Bond for the... Sean Bond. That's... you must be the famous actor Sean Bond, who starred in Game of Thrones. That's what I like. Wow, this is crazy. This has to be the most heavily voted poll on my stream's history, and it is going back and forth like crazy. I still don't know who the winner is. Again, neither of those 2 games have started, so at least let us buy votes with points. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, we are over 100 viewers, so I really appreciate that. All right, we have seen a lot of Ganesh, so I think it's fine to watch Peter and Darren. We haven't seen a lot of Darren, who's also a really strong player. And obviously, oh my God, it's literally flipping constantly. This is pretty nutty. I don't know how long to be patient with this poll because the games are starting. So, all right, so basically... I will adhere to democracy. I will close the poll in just a minute. We'll start out observing Ganesh. who opens with Cowiest right off the bat. Yeah, let's see how they develop. Basically, will James see Ferocity here? Let's see what happens. Will he see Ferocity? If he misses it, he loses his streaming privileges. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Here, we'll put it on this for now, even though it's going to look gross for the time being. It's just ISC's thing. I know it doesn't look good, but we'll put it here because that's where the pole is small. I know it looks bad. So it's Ganesh versus James in this game. Looks like he has a narrow lead. So yeah, James taking a little time here. Really needs to see Ferocity here. I think that must be his only bingo, I think. And he really needs every little bit. He spotted it. All right, I think James just earned a little bit of continued streaming action for finding that bingo. Good job. I'm not sure whether that was confident. So if you've ever watched James play on the stream, we just can't know whether he played that confidently with gusto, or whether he had his hands on his temples, saying to himself, God, I don't know if this is good, I have to try it, and whether he's sitting right now in absolute torture wondering whether the word is good. Yeah, Unlived for sure is going to be played, and it does put a U out for James to use for something really bad with Quap or something like that. Doesn't feel good, but at least he can use his Q here if he needs to. So Unlived, definitely the best play. Let me get Ganesh's score right. Maybe it's okay to keep. Yeah, you know what? You can't play Quap here with such good plays to the triple available. Got to keep the Q and hope for the best, I think. So yeah, it's just too few. Oh, guess what? There's something even better. There is an even better equity play. I'll hide the poll for now. It's also round 4. I will add that to the list, but the score is correct. Yes, Opepe. Opepe has been spotted. That is the best equity play here, scoring 41. When I put and James is bringing the heat. He's bringing the heat on the stream for Ganesh. Good job. Good boy. He's raising his game. I always like it when players raise their game to play the top players as opposed to turtle up into a ball, fetal position style. So 2 for 2 for James, 2 for 2 for Ganesh, obviously. So best plays have been made here. So back over to Ganesh with a narrow lead. He's got some decent bingo tiles paired with an F and an H, and I'm sure he's going to play something like Foe down in the corner, which gets rid of them both and scores well. That seems pretty clear. Not too much to think about. It's always not. Oh, that's a curveball. I did not see Ood coming. Ood leaving FN. That just, no offense, that just looks like a mistake, right? When you can just, I mean, this, yes, it does use the triple, and I guess it technically blocks some scary things sometimes, but your bingo chances leaving DENO compared to your bingo chances leaving FN feel like they are very disparate. It feels like Foe is absolutely better offensive play to me. I'm sure it's not a big mistake. I really don't think it's like a game loser necessarily, but I would have played Foe there for sure. I do admit that they're taking that spot is easily the best scoring spot available on the current board. So I will acquiesce in that sense that if Ganesh is looking to limit an easy scoring play for James, that is absolutely the place to play. But you can just continue to put pressure on with bingos so much more often after playing Foe down low. Okay, back over to James. Suggestion of Quat. I assume right here, right? So playing Quat. Okay, so here, this is basically the same situation that happened the previous game with Femi versus Ganesh, right? So we had a situation where Femi could have played Tui, setting up his E, leaving his absolute best possible leave of RATE, rate. And James plays quad. James plays quad. That might be the best play in a vacuum, even just being really aggressive. You've got the S, let's go for it, right? Every time Ganesh does not have one, it forces him into an awkward situation. I think I like that play. Again, just as I did against Femi, I think you gotta go for it when you're playing someone like Ganesh. You have to acknowledge that the plays that normally you eschew like this because you say, oh man, I can't really live with getting hit with an S hook, right? But in this situation, you got an S, you got to go for it. You got to go for it against a player that good. So if you are a big favorite in a game, maybe you don't want to play quat because you don't want to open yourself up to those downside possibilities of your opponent hitting the squat hook right away. But I like this from him. So I approve of James's play here. So yeah, let's talk about Ganesh's rack now. So Ganesh with 2 U's, that's not what he hopes to see. The Q was just played and does not help him very much. Suggestion of just fawn, I should say, that looks fine. I mean, that's just a very high. So here, let's look at this. You can see fawn doing much better on the valuation, which again, for those that are unclear on what that number is, that's just a very basic number that the computer analysis spits out for how many points is your play and how good are the letters you leave over. That number estimates that value. So fawn, easily the highest value available here. Not every play with a high valuation is a good play. Some plays that have really good scores and really good leaves left over are just terrible because of different things that they do to the board. But that looked like a pretty good play to me. Wow, oh my gosh, I did not see the play pointed out of Schmeck, which that definitely looks like it is worth cashing the squat hook right here. That scores a ton of points, Schmeck, and it leaves B blank. So I definitely think that while quat was best because you have an S and you're looking to be aggressive with it, the longer you leave it open, the scarier it is, the likelier it is that Ganesh draws an S or maybe a blank himself. So yeah, Schmeck looks okay. I think that, I mean, it's 56 points, right? So we put it on the board. There it is. James bringing in the heat this game. We're loving it. 56 points, hanging tough against Ganesh, making good plays. You like to see it. All right, so Ganesh has Xyloid U on his rack here, and oh my god, Xyloid, I didn't even see it. I said Xyloid U, but I did not even see it until I just looked up at the board and what Schmeck does, so you can see Xyloid. Oh my god, you see it on the interface underneath the scores and the rack. When I put a word on the board, it shows you the score. Obviously, don't look at how it says B9. That's because the ISC axes are inverted, and there it is. Xyloid, 76 points for Ganesh. That is a very, very nice play. I mean, what can you do if you're James? You've made the best play there. Schmeck, I think Schmeck was fine. He just got punished to, one of the worst case scenarios of turning Ganesh's rack into a 76-point bomb. But James can just breathe easy and realize that right here he's got a J play that scores pretty well. If he wants it, it scores 42, and he would leave ELT blank, which is definitely a very, very strong combination. So James is down by 70, but he's going to be... Ganesh just kept a U on Xyloid. So odds of that maturing into something good are not the greatest. So after James bombs his J for a good score, he has a chance of Ganesh not drawing that great to his lone U and then hitting a bingo that puts him in really position. Thank you to Gene ZM 1988. Appreciate the follow. Oh my God! So Ganesh to his lone U drew AENTV blank and plays eventual. Okay, so that is rough. That's rough for James. That is absolutely not what he needed to happen. He needed Ganesh to draw much worse than that, obviously, and he needed to draw a little bit better. I'm not even sure what he has here. He might not have a playable bingo. So James has put up an absolutely heroic effort in this game and made a number of really, really nice plays and finds of words. But it looks like the tiles are just not on his side, as Ganesh also playing very, very well. The only tweak I would have made to Ganesh's plays is maybe foe over oud, but maybe that's why that could be a leak in my game as opposed to a mistake that he made. I don't know. Hard to say. It seems like a small mistake, but other than that, very, very precise play from both players in this game. Yeah, it looks like, okay, Quackle confirms no playable bingos here for James. I see Gemet suggested, and we go to the Quackle stats, and yeah, sure enough, that looks like a really, really nice play. It plays right here with a ton of overlaps. You can see Gemet 29, leaving LR blank. I mean, it's not over yet for James. He needs, oh, we want to see a winning percentage. Let's have a look. We'll just sim. Quackle's not even giving him that much credit, just because when he does get his bingo, he still isn't even going to be in the lead, right? So the winning percentage is basically saying that even after he bingos on his next turn, he doesn't have the lead very much, because this is just a short 2-ply sim, so it's not going that far into the future. So yeah, computer doesn't handle these situations very well with big deficits one way or the other, because people's actual play deviates so much from what Quackle expects. So isn't winning percentage just a made-up metric? Yeah, it is. It is pretty. Basically, every Quackle metric is is most useful by comparison to other plays. I would not actually take the numbers at face value, but I would take the numbers as having some relevance in relation to other plays that are given. So I wouldn't look at that and say, oh, his winning percentage is 4%, but you can see which plays are winninger than others using the flawed methodology that it's using to figure the plays out. So I try not to put too much stock in the actual numbers and use it more as a comparison tool between plays. So yeah, James is, he's thinking hard. Obviously, he's going through permuting, knowing that in this particular situation, he really needs there to be a bingo now, and there just isn't one. But it's very, very tempting, and it's very hard to cut bait on racks like this because you need the bingo so bad. You need this bingo so badly. It's just not there, though. So hopefully he cuts bait soonish. Okay, he plays Germ, which that's a little bit of a downgrade. And very, very quickly, Ganesh. So Ganesh has, obviously, look at the time. He has 11 minutes to James's 5, or 4 and ticking. And he just plays Wadi. I wonder why Wadi over Wade. W-A-I-D. Seems like Wadi potentially gets hooked, and Wade only hooks with an E. You know what? Maybe Wadi is a little better, because bingos with E in second position play a lot more hooking afterwards. So that's really splitting hairs, not a big deal. But obviously using the D there was definitely the right idea for Ganesh. So James did not draw what he needed to after Germ leaving LT. So that's kind of like the point of Gemet there. You can see, right? James played Germ. In addition to scoring more points, Gemet in that spot would have used up one more consonant, and had that consonant become one of the vowels that you see at the bottom of your screen down there, the odds of him bingoing are certainly a lot higher, right? He could have potentially... Oh, Gemmett. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. That's my fault. No big deal. That was just not correct analysis. So the only difference is Gemmett scores better. And he would have been hosed by the same draw, all else being equal. All right. Thank you for that. So, yeah, I don't even know what he is supposed to do here. There's no way to put the Z in a helpful way. Yeah, this is just tough. James has played very well in this game overall. Yeah, Zari, that looks okay. And is Ribston going to fit anywhere? So James plays Zari, leaving TLL. I don't know if the 7 on Ganesh's rack doesn't look like it's going to play anywhere, so that's okay. I guess he can play join, though. That looks pretty good. 38 points in the top corner. He may, and there it is. Okay, so James is going to bingo here. But he is down by so much that he desperately needs another bingo to even be in the conversation to have a chance here. He's just going to be down by so much. So, got to get a bingo here, which he will, I think. And then he needs some kind of miraculous draw. I don't know. Doesn't look good at this score. Ganesh basically needs to score any kind of decent amount on his next turn, and he will secure the win here. But very happy with how James played in the early going and really the entire game long, in fact, until I guess Gemmett, which is just splitting hairs in a game that was getting away from him, where Quackle said he had 4% win. Whether or not that number is the number, we just don't know. Oh, wow. So is this going to give a bingo through the A? I know there are a bunch of bingos through the A here. Yeah, Abreacts does fit. But should Ganesh play that, though? Maybe there's something else. Wait a second. Before I put that on the board, is there some other thing, or is that the only bingo? Acerbist does not fit. Yeah, so Abreacts looks like a good play, but is that... I mean, it's going to be hard even after that for James to triple through the S and actually win the game, right? Isn't it? Ganesh is going to be up by 150. No, he'll win the game. James would win the game after a triple through the S there. Especially with there being 6 tiles left. So if there were something like that, it would be a winner, I think. So maybe Ganesh needs to not bingo and just bide his time. Let me see here. So James played Sitella. And Ganesh has Bracts with an E. And I just wonder if Abreacts ever loses. I think it must, right? It has to sometimes. If there's anything available through that S, it's going to lose. So I think Ganesh needs to not play it and just bide his time. And if he just dumps his C and B, he's probably going to be okay with that leave of rates. Stands a pretty good chance of bingoing in a way that does not yield such heavy counterplay. So yeah, hold on. Let me just let's just see so Abreacts against some of the other good plays. You can see Abreacts wins 97.5% of the time. These numbers are actually more accurate just because the best plays for James after Abreacts, every time that it's a triple, it's going to play that, and it's going to be correct to play that. So that number is actually relatively accurate in this position. You can take that number much more at face value than usual. So what that means is that probably 2% of the time with this pool, there's some play through the S that bingos for enough to squeak it over the top for James. So I think Ganesh for sure will not play that. He's going to know that will happen, and he will just play cab or something else. So do we have any updates from any of the other games? It looks like Peter Andronowski has finished his game, and Darren defeated him. So another win for Malaysia. That is, they're edging ever closer now. So that would be the first result to come in round 4. And that is going to go in favor of Malaysia. So literally this game is going to come in and it's probably going to be another win for Malaysia. And they need one more win after that to clutch it out and make the bracket. Yeah. Yeah, the numbers are accurate. I might be lagging a little bit on my time. What are the possible 9-timer words? Let me see if Ziziva can help with that rather than just do it by brain power. Okay, so the pool is AAEGGIINNOORR, and it would be through an S in 6th position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wow! It says there are no. It says there are no S bingos with that pool. Oh wait a second though. Did I enter that wrong? Oh, I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Well, hold on a second. Why did it not? Oh, I think I entered it wrong. 3, 4, 5. Oh, I did it anagram match, not sub anagram match. Okay, the 2 words. Yeah, the 2 words are Garrison and Negrosin. Yep, that's it. So 2 bingos available in the unseen pool that triple through the S after Abriacts. So again, that's here. Yeah, I think it does make up 2% because if you look at the unseen pool, look how many duplicates there are, right? So it's not just that there's 2 words. You can get those 2 words in a whole bunch of different ways because literally almost every tile is duplicated. So this particular pool with 6 sets of duplicates and an E, right? So neither of the words that can play through the S contain an E. And I think that's why, right? So it just so happens the 2 words that actually fit through the S after Abriacts are composed entirely of tiles that are duplicated in the unseen pool. So the chances of them coming up are much higher. See the God 007. That could be James Bond himself. I'm not sure. Probably not. Thank you for the follow. Are the Nigerians in the competition? How can I watch their game? They completed their round 3 match actually 5 or 6 hours ago, something like that. No, maybe not that long ago. 4 or 5 hours ago, something like that. And they lost to Australia. Very, very difficult opponent. And they will not be moving on to the bracket. One of their opponents is in the chat right there, DLDAR182. So he can potentially tell you about that match. It was a 14-11 win for Australia over Nigeria. Okay, so Bisat is played. So obviously Ganesh correctly has figured out that he should not. We can see from James's rack that he is not close to either of the 2 magic bingos that would lose in the game. So basically this game is pretty much over with. Let's see what's going on with some of the other games. We can pretty much cut bait here. Let me see. So let me get that poll off. We don't need that one here. In fact, while we're doing this, we can put up the round 5 streaming poll. I'm pretty sure I know what's going to win. It seems like... So in round 5, just for the record, the pairings consist of the number 1 seeds playing each other, the number 2 seeds playing each other, and so on down. So hard to turn down the matchup between the number 1 seeds on each team. All right, so Ganesh is still playing. Let me see what happened with Phil. Phil defeated Vanita. That is a big win. Paul defeated Martin. Another win for the UK. Femi is losing to Andrew Chang right now, but it is a bit of a touch and go game, actually. We will cut back to this in just a second. And we know that Ganesh is about to beat James. So that's another win for Malaysia. Boy, this is actually pretty close. I wonder, is Ganesh... This Ganesh game might actually clinch it. Given that the score was 5-10 going into this round, I think if... oh no, sorry. I have the Ganesh game already accounted for. Oh my god, this is pretty interesting. Let's look at this. Okay, so this game is now... Femi has Ogreisms triple, but I don't think that's going to be enough, right? So if he puts Ogreisms down, it's 131. He's still going to fall short. So that's going to be another win for Malaysia, and actually that clinches it for Team Malaysia going into this round. The score with a 3-2 win in this round is actually going to be 13-7 in favor of Malaysia. All right, this poll is overwhelming. We don't need it anymore. We will watch the last game. But, okay, so what is actually at stake in this round? So congratulations are in order for Team Malaysia for making the bracket. You can see with this win, they will for sure be in the bracket. But what we do not know necessarily is where they will be playing, because if they go 5-0 in this round, they will play Australia instead of Pakistan. So the question is, who do they want to play, I guess? So well done to Malaysia. We definitely will tune into the matchup between Ganesh and Peter just because it's fun to watch those two guys play. But Malaysia has locked up their entry to the bracket of the tournament. So once again, as we wait for the last game to get underway, you see here the teams are basically set. The only question, will Malaysia win all 5 of their games in this round and move into the India spot to play Australia? And again, that is because... if you go to the pool play standings, I actually do not have it on this version of my interface, but India is sitting at, I believe, 41 wins, and Malaysia going into this game had 24 wins. So if they're able to get 18 wins in this matchup against the UK, Malaysia will move 1 win ahead of India and shift to become the winner of Group A in the bracket. Okay, the two players... Peter and Ganesh are underway. And Ganesh, oh my God, check this out. Oh, I missed it. I just barely got on the game before this word hit the board. Ganesh going first against Peter and plays big feet. That's pretty amazing. So let me just get this game ready. Oh, what happened here? There. All right, we'll cut to it once the doesn't look awful. Yeah, James, you played awesome. We really, really loved how you played in the game. Well done. It's just a tough sledding against a player like Ganesh. You know, you just couldn't quite connect on your bingos. You didn't miss any bingos. So, alrighty. Let's see if Peter can respond. This rack is certainly not quite as good as the rack of Big Feet, which scored very, very nicely for Ganesh to open the game. What will he do here? Probably just something that doesn't feel nearly as good. Yeah, there were some of the good players. So it's not just Brett. I think I get the impression that Brett is a little disdainful of online play. Some of the comments he's made about just, I mean, I get it. Some of the things he said, I understand those concerns about online play. But I think the combination of Brett, Lewis, McKay, and Harshan together would have made an unbelievably good team. So there's Wood. I think Wood is a pretty solid idea there. There's not much else going on. It makes the nice thing about Wood at a deficit is that it makes multiple places that you can potentially play bingos to come back. But Ganesh with pretty nice combination of letters here. He's got an X to score with and a blank to bingo with, so it's just going to be a 2-turn sequence. of plays for him. Let's see, where will he play his X? Docs. That looks as good as anything. So Doc's holding COS blank. That looks pretty good for Ganesh. If he gets his bingo down next turn, that's going to be bad news for Peter for sure. Especially as he has a very, very poor rack here, to say the least. I guess he has to just play like Aga here, or he plays bag. Oh, well, okay, Ganesh drew the cue to slow him down a little bit. That's exactly the sort of draw that Peter needed him to have there, especially as we know what he had, COS blank. So the cue is going to slow him down just a little bit. Unfortunately for Peter, he just played bag, leaving AGIU. So he needs some kind of like crazy amount of help to get even a good play for himself on his next turn. So bag goes down. Ganesh instead keeps the cue. That's interesting. That could be reasonable. I mean, that play scored decently well, 25 points. And there was probably no good place to play it. So, yeah, where was he even going to play his cue there? So I think he probably was forced to either play that or exchange, and that scored 25 points. There's still no U's have hit the board, and sure enough, he drew one of them. So he played Cuz or Cos, however you want to say that. I would say Cuz, I guess. With no U's on the board, he pulled one, and he's definitely going to play something good here with equates, basically. So that worked out pretty well. Peter played Aga, which is the play that I thought he might do on bag, but he sees it now. Equins for 126. That looks pretty good. 126 using the Ecos hook and the Q on the triple letter score, the whole thing on the double word score. That looks great. And notice also that Equins actually, so he could have played equates there, right? So think about this, right? Imagine instead of Equins that equates was on the board. The fact that that E would have been there would now have allowed Peter to play something like Zari in that spot, right? So by playing all of those consonants, it doesn't feel like it's a big difference between equates and Equins. But for those that are, newer to the way that we think about the game, it's actually a huge, huge difference to play that N instead. It cut down on Peter's play with that rack by roughly, 50 or 60 points. So yeah, just a little nuance. Avoid putting the vowel in that spot if you can. And sure enough, in this particular situation, it saved Ganesh a huge, huge amount of pain. So just a little tiny, tiny difference between plays that ends up having a huge impact. Not all of the time, but some of the time. Enough of the time that a player like Ganesh that makes those little differences, those little optimal differences between very similar plays, that is what is required to become the top-rated player. Porky goes down 52 points. That looks really good. So Ganesh is up by 200. Boy, maybe we should cut bait on this. We had enough. Oh no, this was like by far the poll winner. Do people want to stay with a game that's a 200-point blowout, or he would have had Zari had he played equates instead? He would have played Zari going down for 100 zillion points, right? So just imagine instead of that N, imagine that it's TES, right? So he had an A on his rack. He could have played Zari going down for an enormous point. Okay, let us go to see. Yeah, this game is definitely going well for Malaysia. So why don't we look at Phil versus Darren? And this game, again, also going in Malaysia's favor, but it's not nearly as lopsided, so maybe we'll stick with this, especially because it is Phil's turn. Good morning to Jen and Evans, not sure which. Yes, it has been a marathon, but it's been a real treat. It has been a lot of fun. The first matchup between India and Thailand was really, really good. Thailand got out to an early lead. And India stormed back to win 14-11 and punch their ticket into the bracket. So hold on. Here are the two players in this game. There we go. Oh wow, yeah, look at this board. The Y hooks everywhere. Bam, bam. If you get a Y, you're loving scoring like 30 points. No, just kidding. You could probably do a lot better than 30. Yes, the most exciting part. Oh my gosh, that game was unbelievable between Sherwin and Jakrit. That was absolutely a banger to end all. Sherwin played a phony 2 by accident. Jakrit did not catch it. Continued on and basically drew the X and the S out of the bag at the very end of the game and managed to win an incredibly close end game that I certainly was astonished. I was pretty positive that it was going to be a win for India. But of course, the series, the Indians had the last laugh over the Thais. They did win the series despite that tough loss for Sherwin in that game. Okay, so Nixer played by Darren. And Foods with a T. I wonder, I don't know. Doesn't look great here. For bingo chances, is there anything? Let's see if we can get back up to speed on this game between Darren and Phil. So again, yeah, India was the winner there in that first matchup. And what Malaysia is still playing for their positioning in the bracket here. It is not clear who they will play, although it is dependent on them winning all 5 of their games this round, or else India will be the Group 1 winner. So we will see what happens. So I'm just trying to get a little bit caught up on the moves in the game so you can give a little bit better analysis. As Phil is looking for, so we going back to the my what is it, 5-point challenge. While we wait for Phil to come up with his move here, I'll just show you that we have the statistics, and also I have that Phil going into this weekend had 27 bingos, bonuses, however you want to say it, which was tied for 4th among all players. So we know Phil knows a lot of words, and he is looking and searching his memory banks for some of those now, but I don't think any are available for him to play. So let me see. Almost up to date. Let's see here. Wend was played, and then Nixer. All right. Now I am up to speed in this game. And yeah, sure enough, no bingos. And here's where we're at on the Quackle. So you can see food leaving ST blank. That looks all right. That is what is played. So Phil, after a long think, deciding correctly, there are no bingos that I can miss here. And Darren with a 7 on his rack, that the board is not good enough. Really, basically, this board is not good for this particular rack. It's very good if you have an E or an S, but particularly a bingo with wage, this lane is just calling out to be played in. But other than that, not a lot going on. So in fact, based on that, I think Darren will probably make an effort to block that hook if at all possible. I'm not sure if he has any plays from the W that actually extend far enough to block it, but I don't know. We'll see what he elects to do. I mean, maybe even just something like Naoi is called for that reason, right? Like something like Naoi, You can't bingo, you can't score. You might as well block the E and S hook on this. And the only thing that Naoi gives back that wasn't already there is through the I. Seems like a reasonable idea. Does anybody have any other plays that stand out to them? Loti 3A, that looks okay. That looks all right. That's 20. That's certainly more points. It does not, I mean, it blocks the F of food. If you're worried about that, it does not give much back here. That seems all right. It does keep it does keep AAN as opposed to Naoi keeps ALT, which is a little more balanced if you like that. I think Loti in that spot. I'm not really worried about that spot very much compared to the Wage and Wags hooks. So let's see what Darren plays. It's definitely not an obvious. I mean, this is one of those turns where it's hard to come up with a play that you really, really like better than all the rest. Just because, again, if we were to look at like the good equity plays, let's see. Okay, so here's the equity plays. There's Naoi there. It's already a pretty good equity play. Oaf. Oaf. Okay, Dilation is played. That's interesting. So Dilation, just to sort of use up a bunch of letters, score a few points, turn tiles, try to get a blank. I mean, in Darren's point of view there, both blanks are unseen. Oaf leaving an L behind to play Loaf with that leave. I don't know if that was called for given that score. I still kind of like Naoi there, but I mean, I especially like Naoi now because it looks like, well, he would have had a bingo through the I with that rack, the I of Naoi. So there was no beating the rack that Phil happened to have. Oh wow, and Fugato's unplayable on Darren's rack. Darren actually down to pretty low on time here, in fact. All right, let me see. So Dilation was played, and then Tempsing, nice overlapping play by. Oh, actually, so Tempsing was good, but it looks like Styming with Pitchy might have been more points if you're willing to put the G out in the triple lane, which you may not be willing to do. All right, so let's just get back to this. We got Fugato's. Oh yeah, Fugato off to the right. That would play right here for a nice score. Fugato, 31. So Darren is now down a little bit after Phil's bingo. It's basically one of those situations when you have a score line like this, 209 to 192. These are the classic situations where you should not be that scared to play more openly because you need to be aggressive. You need to maximize your chances of getting the next bingo down. Phil has drawn the other blank though, so Fugato, well, maybe not through an O, right? So had Fugato been played here, putting an O in that spot, I'm not sure if Phil would have had anything with E-E-I-N-O-R blank, but Phil will certainly be bingoing here with Wage at the very least. Something with Wage will play and give him a pretty solid lead here. So Darren played Foo, leaving GATS, which, that's okay. Fugato would have scored a bit better and just left the S by itself. Okay, Onarier's played, and that looks fine. I'm not sure there's probably nothing that much better than that. Maybe Aringo's, actually. Looks like Aringo's was playable. Through the G, that would have been pretty impressive. That would play right here, that bingo, for just a few more points than Onarier. Through the G. Yeah, good call for those that spotted that. So Onarier's played instead with an R as the second blank. And Virga played in response by Darren pretty fast, getting rid of that V. Phil drew a bingo. Not a playable one. but he has one on his rack. Suggestion of Gaudry, that looks pretty good, right? So if Gaudry is played right there, it really the real estate on the board available to Darren to bingo on future turns is pretty minimal. It's not easy. And it's actually not that easy to hit this spot as a counterplay either. There aren't a lot of consonants that even play here left in the pool. You can see just looking at the letters that are left, literally the worst letter that could fit there is a D. It is only a 2-point letter. All the stuff that would hit harder in that spot, the H, the F, the M, W, it's all gone. So Gaudry is a very, very safe play to use up a lot of space without opening basically anything to Darren as a response. So basically what we don't want to see Phil do here is play his rack as opposed to the board. We talked about that earlier a little bit. So he could play Yug or something, right? Like that's going to be really tempting for him to play Yug, leaving ADERS. But that is absolutely not the way to go here at this score line. You do not need to leave this stuff open when you have reasonable plays that use up that space. So let me see. Let's see if we put Gaudry in here. I definitely like that as a play. And we'll see what Quackle thinks about it. And sure enough, it shoots right to the top. Well, Yug is doing okay because Quackle is Quackle, but you can see Gaudry, definitely a very, very solid idea. Quackle being Quackle, it wants you to just max out your chances of bingoing all the time, but I think Yug is just not... I mean, it's going to work out a lot because that leave is good, but you're going to feel really bad every time you play Yug and Darren bingos to the G or the A of Virga. So I like that idea. Let's see what Phil opts to do. I'm not going to say it's like a big, big error if he plays Yug instead, because from Phil's perspective, anytime he gets another bingo down, he's going to win those games every time. So it's definitely nice to maximize your chances of bingoing, but you can just win so many games by not by not letting Darren get a crack at those through tiles of Virga. So play from H1. The problem is when a play from H1 goes down. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There it is. Okay, I like that. We like that play. Good job to Phil. I think we mostly approve of this play. It's not... Oh, wow. Great play by Darren. Oh, my gosh. He plays Yankee. So obviously in response, we've seen this word already be played, but the only scary thing about putting this word on the board, it scores 42. It looks really, really good. Thank you to Edwin073. I recognize that name. We watched a lot of you on stream. Edwin, it was a pleasure to watch your games. You played really, really well on stream. And very, very good effort in the last game against Kenya. It was really cool to see Team Ghana perform very well in that match. So thank you for the follow. So yeah, Yankee is a beautiful play by Darren, just to sort of keep the threat of outrunning in the mind of Phil. But it's going to be hard. I think Bravi was a pretty... I mean, you have to live with some risk here, putting that R out in space. And, well, basically now Darren could play Jester if he wants. Interesting situation. So I wonder what's the best idea for him here. The pool, the unseen letters to him are actually pretty good. So I wonder if it's possible that he should play... I'm literally thinking maybe something like Hefe is better than Jester, right? Because I think Hefe might be better. Even though it scores so many fewer, you have a great chance of redrawing E's in the pool, right? Look here close to the bottom. So if you play Hefe to put that line on the board, you can redraw E's, and basically I don't think Jester is going to win the game, but I think you can win the game after bingoing. Jet, if you're going to do that, is that on top of oh, Jet Jet and Jug, maybe. Is that the idea? Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't feel like it leads to that many wins, actually. No, I don't think it's a ridiculous analysis. I think you'll find that I'm actually correct. That Jester is not going to win that much for you, and Hefe wins a lot for you anytime you get a bingo. I think you will find that is true. But it's possible that Jet is better, leaving a little bit better of a leave, opening the bottom of the board. That might be a better idea. So, all right, Jester's played. I think it's going to be tight, but this K is definitely going to help a lot to keep the scoring pressure on. There's definitely some danger here, though. I'm wondering if just saying like Uke is going to be enough. That's 28. It leaves an S, but you could get hosed on your draw. I don't know. It's going to be tough. If you score 28 here, it's going to be pretty tough. Also, the nice thing about this is you leave good tiles to play parallel to here if you want. I know there is an R left over for Ryu, but you keep the A's for a U. I don't know. That's tricky. Yeah, it's possible that, I mean, I don't think Jester is like a 0% win, but I don't know. It's tight. It's going to be hard. Basically, there is an aspect of Jester that if you are good at endgame, then you could potentially win a bunch of games. Oh my goodness, Jesse. Going ham in the chat. Thank you so much to Jesse. Gifting subs out like candy. Jesse, we missed you yesterday. I missed you. I did worse without you. And we lost to Ireland because of it. But that's okay. We still made the bracket, thankfully. Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Your priorities were in order. Your reasoning for missing the match was totally that. Again, we get it, and plus, I think we were basically guaranteed to make the bracket anyway, barring some kind of insane result by the Philippines where they won like 25-0 over New Zealand. So. Well, thank you so much for those subscriptions. It definitely helps. It gives me that, extra oomph to keep going. I'm putting a lot of energy into this. I really believe in Scrabble streaming as something that's good. Okay, we do see Uke be played. So this is going to be an interesting endgame, actually, with 2 S's. I think that Phil should be able to score enough on his next play here to squeak this out, but I don't know. Is that a good play? I don't even know what this is that I will allow emotes to happen. I don't really know what these all are. Yeah, I don't know. Uke. What should have been played there, though? Did anybody have any thoughts on what to play? Maybe just Eek? Maybe he should have played Eek and Eon? I don't even know. Would that have made more sense? It scores a bunch more points, but it left AAUS. Yeah. Okay, so Liber. Talking about this here. All right, so Uke goes down. Broiled is played. All right, I'm going to spoil it for myself. It does definitely look like this should be winnable. Yeah, it definitely is. Oh, the best play is a Butte. The best play is a Butte. Oh, no. The Liber is the co-best play with another play. So you guys spotted it. So, yeah, interesting. Oh, that I don't think that appeared on my... Was that a win? Wait a second. All right, I do not see that as a winning play. That doesn't mean it's not. But it scores 28, leaving Ode. Yeah, sure enough, that is not a winning play. So yeah, question, is that an allowed word? We are actually playing Collins. We are actually playing a tournament organized by a group called the Collins Coalition. So that should definitely clue you in on the dictionary we're playing. But yeah, some extra words. Oh yeah, Sacer. That's right, Sacer for 24. That's also available. So a 24-point play for Phil here, and also safes. So, all right, let's look at this in Quackle. So safes and Sacer are the 100% plays. There were a lot of plays for Darren on his turn that were evaluated at the full, including Liber, which was seen, which I think the two-turn sequence here would have been Liber, and then safes goes down for Phil. That would have been his best play. And then you're setting up a spot for yourself to play broad if you want, but also just Door and Ryu. So that would have been the best sequence, but instead we saw Burl be played, probably because Darren instinctively felt he had to block the Ayu hook when actually he did not need to. And then either of these two plays will win. So Phil is down to 40 seconds, though. It should be mentioned. I think part of the reason that Darren probably played was feeling a little bit of time pressure. He did have more time than maybe he thought. He had a minute to think this out, do as much math as he could to figure out the... and there is Sacer. That is one of the winning plays. Nicely done by Phil. That is 1 point off of just playing safes, but it's going to be academic now, unless there were challenges that I did not know. Nope, the score is the same. So after Darren's best play of Ode on top of Food, that's going to be a 1 point win for Phil over Darren in this game. So that's pretty exciting. There were a lot of moves to analyze in this game. The Jester move in particular, definitely hearing the pushback on that. I feel like Hefe was actually a reasonable play there, but it turns out that Jester led to a winnable endgame for Darren. So I could be wrong. It is a lot of points. Yeah, Liber would have been definitely the play there. So yeah, Sacer, nice play by Phil. Yeah, and then the Uke turn was very, very difficult. I honestly do not know what was best. Okay, so Darren has calculated that he cannot win if Sacer is a word. He just gave it a challenge. And with 2 seconds left, he plays his word. So nicely done to Phil to pull this game out. Again, that is going... I mean, even one loss for Malaysia in this round basically clinches that they are going to play Pakistan in the bracket. So let's just figure out what's happened in all the other games. I'm sure that Ganesh won against Peter. He was up huge. Femi versus Andrew. I'm not even sure we knew what happened with that. That was another win for Andrew Chang. Oh yeah, I had that just not put in. Okay, so Ganesh won his game. And yeah, sorry, I thought it was just Rod. So the play that was better in that game, hold on, let me cut back. The play that I thought was better but actually doesn't work out that much better is just playing Rod like right here, because that sets up Liber scoring even more points, forming Broad. But that doesn't actually work out that much better. I mean, it wasn't that beautiful. It was just my gut reaction of like, oh, wow. Nice idea. You can switch up the sequence and make your Liber play hit even harder by playing Rod. Okay, so the matchup coverage again. So we just saw Phil squeak out a very narrow win against Darren Koo. Paul versus Vanita. Oh, that's still in progress, actually. So we still have more Scrabble going on here. This is between Vanita and Paul Allen. And this is the last game yet to finish. So let me see how the other matchups did. It looks like Martin Teo defeated Femi. So that's another win for Malaysia. And the 5 seeds are also done. That's between Andrew Chang and James Curley, and Andrew Chang won that game as well. So very, very, very strong effort by Malaysia here. This is the last game to finish in this round. Right now, the score is 16-8 with just this game yet to go. So I will adjust that score. And it's going to be a very, very solid win for Malaysia heading into the bracket. And I think they're going to come just short of India for individual wins. So, yeah, what's going on in this game? It looks like Paul is definitely going to take it on the strength of that X at the very end. So, all right. So this will be Paul Allen's game. Phil, thank you very much for the follow. That was a very, very exciting game we just watched. Very, very nicely done in the end game. To squeak that out over Darren, that was really tight. We all had a lot of fun watching that game. And let's see, we go back to the matchup coverage, and it looks like Paul is going to win this match. So the final score of the match, commiserations, though, in order to Team UK. Excuse me, not 198. When all is said and done, it's going to be a 16-9 win for Malaysia in this game, and that is going to be enough for Malaysia to make it into the bracket, but they are now slotted in the correct spot. All right, folks, this is it. This is how the bracket is going to look next week. We still have no idea when the games are going to be played or who will be bringing you the games yet, but here are the 8 teams that made it into the championship bracket from pool play. So again, here's our pool play list. Malaysia coming out on top. They just won their game, so they moved to 2-1. They are correctly slotted behind India, and the UK does drop. I think they may actually drop below Thailand on the strength of tiebreakers, but not a big deal. So there you see it. India, Malaysia, Pakistan, Australia, Canada, Singapore, the USA, and Ireland making it into the bracket. And here are the matchups that we will be seeing next week. So, wow, what a day of Scrabble. It's been a lot of fun bringing these matchups to you guys. And I can't wait for next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to playing Singapore. I am on Team USA. Not a great week for me against Ireland, but I had a decent overall. I think I went 11-4 overall, so I'm happy with that. I know there were some other players in different teams that did even better. So really, really nice effort. I think Ganesh went 5-0 today for Malaysia to carry his team to victory, and he made a lot of awesome plays. A lot of fun to watch him. So there you have it. India versus Australia, Canada versus Ireland, Pakistan versus Malaysia, and the USA versus Singapore. The bracket is all set, so we don't need the week 2 results. Haven't entered them in for week 3, but that's going to do it. I think it's been a long stream for me. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. and I couldn't be more excited to have brought these 2 pivotal matchups to you guys in coverage. We've been well over 100 viewers for quite a while, so I really, really thank everybody for watching along, and I hope you enjoyed the coverage. Anything that you guys... any advice, any tips, any feedback that you guys have for other features you'd like to see, would love to try to work on bringing that to you and getting our game, our streaming game, even better for the bracket, which is coming soon. So thanks, everybody. I think that's going to do it for me. Once again, last look at the bracket as it is fully set, headed into next weekend. And these are 4 really delicious matchups. So I hope everybody is really excited to tune back in next week and see how all of this plays out. Who will be the winner of the Virtual World Cup? We'll just have to wait and find out. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. If you haven't dropped me a follow, it really helps me grow my channel. Just a little quick bit of self-promotion. But other than that, catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching.